Hi everyone, welcome back. Today let's discuss about regression testing. Regression testing is the most important concept of software industry. Not only a QA engineer but anyone who is working in software industry like a developer or a business analyst should understand the concept and the importance of regression testing. Let's see what it means. Imagine you're working in a software company as a QA engineer and the application that you are testing here is called X. So X is your application. It's already being used by your client. And now client thinks that he needs some additional functionality to the existing application and then he conveys the same to your business analyst. Business analyst is the person who will write a requirement. He will document it in whatever form your company is following. If you're following a Jira, he will create a Jira for the new requirement. He'll understand what business needs and then his responsibility is to communicate that requirement to the technology team. Technology team includes developers and quality analysts also. So once the requirement is conveyed to the development team and the QA team, your next step is your developer working on the requirement. Let us think that the new functionality what our client wants here is, for example, called as Y. So X is the existing functionality that client is already using and Y is the new functionality that he would like the application to have. So our developer worked on the new functionality called Y and then he assigns that to QA. Once it is ready for test, you will be notified that you can start your testing. You will put all your positive scenarios and negative scenarios and then if you have any questions here, you will consult the business analyst and get them clarified with your business teams and then you will start working on your Y requirement. Now at this point of time, you have covered all the positive scenarios and negative scenarios. If you have any open defects, those with respect to Y has been already closed and now you are pretty much comfortable with your new functionality which is being added and now you are happy that it is working fine. You absolutely have no issues with the new functionality. At this point of time, as a QA engineer, would you be providing your sign off? Y is absolutely working fine. The new functionality that they have added is perfectly fine. As a QA engineer, my answer here is a big no. I would not provide my sign off at this point of time because I want to make sure that before adding Y, my existing functionalities, whatever client is currently using, are also working fine. So X should be perfectly working fine after adding Y. What happens is we never know what developer is doing in order to incorporate this new requirement. He might be touching different stored procedures. He might be doing number of backend changes or middle tier changes. Service calls might be changed. So for us to make sure that the new functionality Y is not hampering any of our existing functionalities, we need to perform one test to make sure all your previous functionalities are working fine. This testing is called as your regression testing. The most important step here, before you provide sign off, you have to make sure that all your existing functionalities before adding Y are working as expected too. So now at this point of time, X plus Y both should be working fine together. Before you provide sign off, you have to ensure that X plus Y together as a whole block should be working as expected without any issues. In case, imagine you provide sign off without testing X, what happens? It goes to production and some existing functionality which client is already using gets screwed up. That would be a huge loss. When that comes back and it fails in production and comes back again, the cost of repair would be like huge. We need to pay lot and lots of fine to our clients in order to Because of our miss there will be a lot of penalties as well. So in order to avoid that, we always make sure that we completely thoroughly regression test our code before providing sign off. So let us see, like, why do we perform, when do we perform regression testing? We perform regression testing after we complete our functional testing. In our case, in this example, after we are comfortable with y, if you have any open defects with respect to y, you have to make sure that all those defects are closed. This is the time when you communicate to your development team asking them to freeze code. This is the most important step, guys. You have to make sure that the environment is stable before you start your regression testing. So any new functionalities that have been added should be completely thoroughly tested. All the defects should be closed with respect to the new functionalities that have been added. And this is the time when you communicate with your developer that, guys, I'm going to start my regression testing. Please do not touch QA environment. Why do you have to do this? Because what happens is, like, when you keep on doing your regression and client, he might he I'm sorry, and when the developers keep on adding some new defect fixes, or whatever they are, like if they want to test something and if they put in the QA environment, that will not help you anyway. In order for you to perform your regression testing, you have to make sure that the QA environment is stable. Once you communicate with your developer and start your regression testing, you have to complete all your regression scenarios. Now, what constitutes your regression scenarios? If you are following an automation, if your company is following automation approach, you would identify the most important test cases of your application that might be coming up to 200 or 250. You will make sure that you run all these test cases. You create a regression suite. Regression suite is a collection of most important test cases that you would want to run before every release to make sure that the existing functionalities are not getting hampered with the new functionality that they have added. So you, in case of automation approach, you will run the regression script to make sure that it is working as expected. And once your regression suite passes, then you are fine. If you're following a manual testing approach, you will identify all the important test cases just like we did in the automation suite. You will create an Excel with all the test cases that you would like to run before sign off. Or you can, if you're using quality center, you will put all your regression test cases in a separate set and then make sure you run that before your release. Once you think that your regression test passes, like you have no new issues introduced, just because we have added Y functionality, and once you are comfortable with your regression testing, that is when you would go and provide your sign off. I hope you understand, guys. Like, Y is a new functionality that has been added. So after completing the functional testing of Y, you will communicate with the development team not to touch the QA environment. You will take your regression suite out, and then in case of automation, you will kick off the script and to make sure that all your regression test cases are passed. In case you are following manual approach, you will execute each and every test case which are like the previous excess functionalities, and make sure that because we introduced the new functionality by the existing functionalities are not screwed up, and now you are 100% comfortable to provide your sign off. Do you think regression testing is essential to provide sign off? Definitely yes, guys. Without regression testing, it is never ever recommended for a QA engineer to sign off. In case business or the development team is not understanding, sometimes due to the tight timelines, there would be pressure on a QA engineer, and in that case it is our responsibility to talk to our business team and development team and understand and let them understand the importance of regression testing, get good amount of time, and then perform our regression testing. In case in some circumstances, if QA engineer is not getting enough time to perform his regression, I would suggest always give a conditional sign off. After going to production, if something is really not working fine, that would ultimately come back to QA team, guys. So it's always better we provide a conditional sign off in case if we did not get a chance to completely thoroughly regression test our code. So I hope you understand this concept, guys. Please feel free to post your questions and comments underneath. I would reply as soon as possible. Thank you.